Has it been that long? Local media has been experimenting with digital for about 30 years now. Back in 1981, a group of newspapers reached out to the tech-savvy guys in the newsroom. They said, here, go figure this thing out called digital. Oh, and while you're at it, try to make some money with it.
Imagine, if you will, sitting down to your morning coffee, turning on your home computer to read the day's newspaper. Well, it's not as far-fetched as it may seem. In fact, both local San Francisco papers are investing a lot of money to try and get a service just like that started.
This is an experiment. We're trying to figure out what it's going to mean to us as editors and reporters and what it means to the home user. And we're not in it to make money. We're probably not going to lose a lot, but we aren't going to make much either.
Do you have people like this running your website? We certainly hope not, because if you do, you're going to get your clocks cleaned with all these new competitors going after your local clients. Your managers are really good with new business development, right? You know, the digital kind? Well, they should be. Even though it's a relatively small part of your overall revenue, it is the fastest growing revenue stream in advertising today. It's true, Groupon, Google, and Facebook are threats, but traditional media is also adding to the pressure. You know things are getting heated when even the TV industry is ramping up its hyperlocal efforts and getting aggressive.
Hyperlocal, in effect.
Hyperlocal, I mean, it's gigantic. You got Google getting into it, you got AOL Patch. I mean, every client I see talks about local, 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 local. And I talk about, you know, the breadth of services that our stations provide, which is hyperlocal websites, community websites, which are very, very big and growing.
Earlier this year, the New York Times hosted a meetup or a mini conference focused on hyperlocal business models for news. But for some reason, the New York Times didn't seem to get the memo.
My approach in all humility, since the theme of this is mainly about the business, is to say I'm an editor. While I have been part of an effort to assiduously find new ways to throw my head against the brick wall of hyperlocal business models, my expertise is on the journalism side, and I want to mainly talk about that. There is no way that our hyperlocal effort could be accused of being tainted by advertising.
Well, that's nice. No wonder the New York Times had to unload a portion of their hyperlocal project to some local universities.
We have a local site in the East Village that we do in collaboration with the Arthur Carter Journalism Institute at NYU, which is their J school.
Think those college professors can help the New York Times figure out some hyperlocal business models? I'm sure they know how to save online journalism and make money with our content, right? You know, maybe someone with a strong, proven sales and leadership background. You know, someone with passion and excitement in their voice.
Few of us actually know where these new revenues are going to come from. And this business model problem is kind of an unsolved crisis within the profession. But one way that people in journalism can begin to find the new money is not to look on the revenue side at all, but look at these falling costs and try to imagine how the falling costs for like-minded people to locate each other, share information, collaborate, and publish what they know might begin to improve journalism.
Well, I'm sure that's going to work out well for the New York Times. If the people in charge of your digital operations are still living by the theory, build it, and they will come, that's a problem. Hey, let's focus on editorial, build a lot of content, get lots of page views, then tell the sales department to go out and sell it at a high CPM. Hate to break the news to you, but CPMs are in a death spiral. They rarely go up. When you sell CPM, cost per thousand, you actually devalue your premium content and audience. You're turning your inventory into a commodity. Even if we go back into ancient history, you'll see charming prognosticators warning us about the stupidity of CPM selling.
Salespeople get so caught up in the game, they call on agencies. And agencies say, well, I can buy station B at a lower cost per point. You're out of here. And the sales guy said, oh, geez, okay, I better go back and figure out how to do bonus sponsor. How about I throw in a promotion? And you love to hear about that when they get back, don't you? I think the great radio stations don't pay any attention to that cost per point crap. And if they can't get by the agency, they go see the client. And the agencies will get mad at that. What do you mean seeing my client? You know my answer to that? Well, you get 15%, we get 85%. I think they're our client too. And the guy down at the hardware store wants the cash register to ring, so why don't you go work the computer and we'll try to sell some stuff?
We think in terms of cost per inch, cost per thousand. And everybody out here talking about the web from the newspaper business talks about attracting more eyeballs so we can get a higher cost per thousand. How can we get more traffic to our website? That's the wrong question. We think in those terms because the only thing we have is bigger audience must be more valuable.
We know times are tough, budgets are tight, so we wonder, do your interactive managers blow most of their budgets on research, analysis, more research, long-winded panel discussions, and even more unneeded research? Do they talk to people who use the word research way too much?
There are some good implications from this research of research, sort of meta-research we did, looking at all these different academic and industry studies. So there's some pointers that media, agency, advertiser, content people can take out of this, and researchers. We tried to distill down these 5 research questions that we applied to this body of research.
Have you noticed? Even the best hyperlocal websites, complete with great talent, great content, and lots of resources, are being dumped. Recently, Gannett pulled the plug on their hyperlocal money pit called In Jersey. And after just 3 months, All Britain Communications threw in the towel with TBD in the Washington, D.C. area. Even the mighty Washington Post said the hyperlocal thing can't work when they shut down their local project called Loudon Extra. They were probably so embarrassed that they spent huge amounts of money on executives that could build cool websites and burn through lots of cash, but had no idea how to turn a profit, no idea how to sell local direct advertisers. What did these sites have in common? They were all led by editorial-first strategies. Sales, seemingly, was an afterthought. The really smart executives in charge were all mainly salaried. They got full pay whether or not they made money. That is no way to run a startup business. Are the VPs of digital paid a straight salary at your company? The reason why we ask is because, well, publishers or broadcast general managers are heavily motivated not only with money, but with job security. If they don't hit their numbers, they lose money. They keep that up for a while, they lose their job. Why don't we run our websites that way? If you have internet managers BSing you with how many page views they're getting, how many awards they're winning, or how many Facebook fans they have, that's all nice, but it's worthless without real cash flow and profit.